Hi, I'm Ina. Welcome to Know Thyself, or welcome back if this isn't your first time. I really haven't done much to celebrate. I was going to get up at sunrise. I kind of did, but I was too out of it. I was too groggy to really appreciate the sunrise. So I didn't really do anything. Any kind of like ritualistic or, symbolic. I haven't even decorated that much. I haven't really been feeling the festive cheer. I've had other things on my mind, to be honest. I've just had a lot going on. As far as what my altar looks like, I won't show you my altar just yet, but that will be coming soon. But I haven't really decorated it. The only things I have that are even remotely holiday themed are a yellow candle that I'm burning right now for the winter solstice, this card from the Fairy Forest Oracle, the Yule Singer, just to spruce up my altar space a bit, and this little guy. If you're familiar with like Kewpie dolls, the Kewpie doll phenomenon, this is like a reincarnation of the Kewpie doll, and they're like collectibles, and I just have this one. It came in an animal pack. He's missing an antler, so that's sad. Kind of symbolic, or kind of representative of my overall energy right now. How kind of like deflated I feel. Maybe not deflated, might be too strong a word, but definitely just not feeling it. Oh, I do also have this. So that's as festive as my altar is right now. I haven't even really decorated the apartment much, so yeah, I'm not feeling it. So to that effect, I really want to connect with the people who just aren't feeling it this year, or any year. People who have any sort of hang-ups or difficulties regarding the holidays. The days are now, this is the shortest day of the year, and in the Northern Hemisphere, and the days will begin to get longer again from this point onwards. So, but basically, the days have been getting darker and shorter, and a lot of people do fall into seasonal depression. So, these dark times are times for a lot of introspection and inner work and shadow work for a lot of people. So if you kind of add that to the stress of the holidays, because a lot of people do, to some extent, celebrate Christmas, at least with their families, even if they're not particularly, even if Christmas doesn't particularly align with their beliefs, but there is some element of Christmas, present. And I celebrate with my family, so I get it. Some people are estranged from their family, and if that is the case, you might not even be able to celebrate with anyone. So that is also very much a problem for some people. And this time can be a painful reminder of that. So I'm just putting things out there, just like potential factors as to why you might not really feel all that good around this time of year. So to that effect, I've decided I wanted to do a collective reading for those who find the holidays to be a difficult time. And this whole preamble has been a bit convoluted and clumsy, but that is what I'm trying to get at here. That this is going to be a space, just a casual space where we can hang out. There's no pressure. I'm not going to make this a very structured, sort of pick a card style video. This is just going to be one long reading, a collective reading that hopefully will provide some guidance, some insight, or even just something to reflect on, something that we can come away with, just so that, if you do feel that this time is difficult for you, you don't feel so alone in that feeling. I want to commiserate with all of you. Speaking of, just before I get into the reading, of course, I will put timestamps so that you can skip this whole preamble. I will be doing going forward on this channel, I will be doing more pick a card readings. I did one, I think, in spring or so. Yeah, so I do have one pick a card reading, which I will link in the cards somewhere. So I've only I don't have much experience with it, but I am wanting to kind of throw my hat in the ring. Is that the is that the terminology? I know that pick a card readings are really looked down on in this side of the tarot tube community. So I want to make a video about that specifically, a separate video, because I do want to present some thoughts on that and kind of, you know, justify myself, I guess, even though I shouldn't have to, but, you know, just to kind of explain why I want to do pick a card readings. Not that my channel is completely going to devolve into that. No. No, I'm gonna do a lot more theory videos, a lot more discussion videos, you know, chatty kind of like catch-up videos at present, and, you know, some deck related videos. But yeah, there will be more, you know, relative to how many there are now, which is 0. There will be more pick a card readings, and I will do a video on that, and I will do a video on why I think they can be helpful if they are done right. I'm not exactly trying to look down on pick a card readers or say that what they're doing is they're doing it the wrong way, but, you know, everyone has their own approach. I just want to kind of like, I just want to do something different with them, and hopefully maybe convince the tarot tube community, although that might be quite a lofty, that might be too lofty an ambition. But, you know, kind of like open tarot tube's collective mind to pick a card readings and their usefulness. So yeah, anyway, back to this reading. Okay, we have 3 decks in front of us, and yeah, it's going to be one long reading, just like a casual chat discussion. I have Edmund Dulac Tarot, which, okay, so just another little explanation. I don't really have any festive, you know, decks. So these are my only, like, these are the kind of the 3 I managed to gather up that I thought might fit the general energy vibe of this reading. Edmund Dulac will provide some very intuitive readings, and it does feel very wintry for me. I haven't used it in quite a while precisely for that reason. I mean, look at this High Priestess. But I will do a winter decks video, again, separate video, where I do some pairings and stuff. The Woodland Wardens is a newer acquisition for me. Yes, I am only getting it just now, but I am a contrarian, and whatever, even though I was drawn to the art, I hadn't gotten it until now because everyone else was hyping it up, overhyping it, and whatever direction everyone else is going in, I always go in the other direction. Very much have my own aesthetic, very defined aesthetic, and very defined sense of what I like or what calls to me. And this, it's not that this didn't fit that, but I was just really put off, I think, by how many people, like, I just, you know, I don't know, sometimes the hype just kind of ruins it, right? But maybe, I don't know, something came over me, my better judgment, and I finally caved and bought it, and I regret not having gotten it sooner. And I feel like this will be the perfect oracle for this reading. I just think aesthetically, I do have reversals, but I'm not going to read reversals in this reading. I just think, again, wintry deck for me, maybe an all year round deck, but right now I'm really feeling the winteriness coming from it. And then the third deck is, so this kind of clashes aesthetically with these 2, so I will be doing like 2 parts to the reading, and I'll explain my the idea behind that. So I'll be using the Housewives Tarot, And I was thinking, this is actually maybe the only deck that does kind of look a little bit, I don't know, maybe it's the colors, or I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it does feel a little bit festive to me. Maybe it's kind of like the kitschy aesthetic. I don't know, that you know, I mean, this is obviously, but there's just something about it that does make it feel very holiday appropriate. This is maybe the only deck in my collection that is maybe not intentionally meant for the holidays, but does feel very holiday appropriate for me. So I was thinking, because of like the kitschy kind of images, and you know how it very much strives to embody, you know, that classic like 1950s magazine, like perfect suburban housewife, you know, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, right? It does mock it in a sense, but it does embody the I don't know, it embodies that energy. So I wanted this to be the deck that we could use to kind of like diagnose the problem or the problems. We could look at what some of the problems we might be facing right now are, even though it's not, you know, a particularly shadowy deck, but I think I can get something out of this one. There's definitely the space or the possibility for reading this in a more shadowy kind of way. The kind of picture perfect life that was, you know, consumerism comes into this a lot as well. I'm having such a brain fog day, which probably means it's not a good day to do this reading, but I'm gonna push through. So yeah, if you get what I'm trying to get at, please like comment down below, because I can't put it into words right now. I do know why this is appropriate and what I'm trying to channel here with this kind of deck, this energy, why I relate it to the problems that are inherent in the holiday season, or how, you know, we've commercialized the holiday season. This is going to be our deck to just like look at what's going on. We'll put that aside, and then we'll do a more watery kind of intuitive reading as to what we can do about it. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. I will put timestamps in this video so that you can just skip skip the preamble completely, because I've been talking for like almost 20 minutes. So if you're a smart cookie, you'll do that. We'll skip right to the reading. Yeah, so let's get into it. So let's look at some of the problems that we might encounter during the holidays. Why is the holiday season so difficult for some of us? What is it that makes it difficult for some of us? What isn't quite right about this time of year? What feels off for some of us? So let's diagnose the problem, okay? One more. Okay, so what are some of the problems that we can encounter during the holidays that just make them really difficult for us? Okay, great way to start off the reading, Ten of Swords. Okay, put it here. So we have the Ten of Swords. What else? What else do we? The Moon. Okay, that combination is quite telling. Yeah, for sure. So what else? And we have this one, Cups. What I'm already seeing, for sure, mental health problems. I do think that as the days, I mean, from this point onwards, the days will start getting longer again, but this is definitely, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, this is we are currently traversing the darker side of the year. The days are very short, so the days feel, the night almost feels quite oppressive. The nights are long, the days are short, basically, and the lack of sunlight does really get to some people. Some people really go into seasonal depression. It's definitely time for more introspection, a lot of more inner reflection, and even shadow work for a lot of us. So I think a lot of us are actively doing a lot of shadow work, so that can be quite taxing and quite difficult. But there's sort of like some of us might even be, so some of us might feel like something's missing. Just, I feel like around this time of the year, people just feel maybe like loneliness. Some people might feel a lot of loneliness because they're estranged from their family, or perhaps they live alone. So I'm definitely getting a sense of loneliness here for some reason. The Three of Cups isn't quite, so you do have the Three Cups, which the Three of Cups is tied to community and friendship, and sort of celebrating in unison. But the Three Cups here are empty, and there's only one person. We can only see this one figure here. So there really isn't a sense of that Three of Cups energy is like, it's not quite there. So we don't really have the support of, some of us really don't have the support of our family at all, and that is really difficult for a lot of us, especially concerning a time where the kind of messages that we're receiving from, kind of like we're being assaulted with, like ads, just like the commercialization of the holiday season, everything, everywhere we go, capitalism is telling us, rather, like the mentality that is really pervasive around the holidays is that of consumption, overconsumption. And yeah, we might, some of us might be seeing that with like our tarot deck consumption. Some of us might be spending more than usual on tarot decks around this time of the year, maybe to fill that like emptiness, that hole that we feel. So we might be overspending, over consuming, and yeah, there's a sense of emptiness here. And then so we're being provided something, a way to fill that emptiness temporarily, right? Because this is like a drink, and once it's gone, it'll make you happy for a moment, temporarily. The effects of the alcohol wear off. We're being offered a way, we're being offered with a means to fill that emptiness, I think in the form of consumption, which is really interesting. That emotional emptiness. Perhaps a lot of us are more prone to just general overconsumption during the holidays, but maybe specifically in this community, maybe more of us are spending more on tarot decks, oracle decks, to fill that void, But yeah, the overall message, the pervasive message that we get through capitalism is that we need, this is the time to consume and overconsume. It's so pervasive, it's so pernicious, it's so, it assaults us, it assaults our senses, it assaults us, everywhere we go. We just have, it's, everything is geared towards, trying to get us to buy things, to consume. And a lot of us, or most of us, want to reject that. It's kind of like par for the course with the holiday seasons. Sometimes you are forced to consume anyway, because perhaps you buy gifts for your family, for example, or your partner, and or your friends, and so you are, in a way, you fall into the trap, but not wanting to. Perhaps you just give in, right? You almost like feel like you have to give in. Like at the end of the day, you give in because there's almost like no alternative, like I'm getting very different sensation from this Four of Cups than what is you know, traditionally associated with the Four of Cups. I do feel like I get the sense of someone rejecting or trying to reject this cup, you know, the idea of consumption to fill the void, and ultimately, you know, being backed into a corner, not being able to reject that, falling into the trap of overconsumption, almost because there is no other alternative. Like I said, there's no recourse. So that in itself is a very stressful, it's emotionally stressful. It does take a toll on us, on our mental health, I do think. So it's the darkness, it's the, also some of us are just fed up by the time, so, you know, a whole year has gone by, the year is almost through, and whether we've had a good year or a bad year, it's almost done. You know, the year, we're on our last legs, it's the final push, or it is really the finish line. We're only a few days away from the new year, so it's almost like it's done, right? We're just, a lot of us just feel like we're completely done. We just want the year, we just want all of this to be over and just to start. I see so many people already talking about 2024 like it's already here, and I just really get the sense like that so many people just want the next year to come. We want to start over. We're on our last legs, mentally, emotionally, you know, psychologically. We've just had enough, right? Even, like I said, even if we've had a fulfilling year, it's just, we're tired, right? We're like really tired. I do feel like we are more tired during this time of year than any other time of year, because I feel like the darkness kind of brings this sense of like apathy and inertia and exhaustion, tiredness, you know, because our bodies are sort of like acclimate to the darkness, but the darkness tricks us like into believing that we're supposed to be asleep. So I feel like we're all kind of like, we're just trudging along and trying to do the best that we can, but we don't really feel quite awake, quite alive. Just to summarize, I'm getting the sense of just tiredness, fatigue, you know, we've had enough. And yet we're being forced to participate, we're being forced to engage in perhaps in a culture that perhaps a lot of us don't agree with. You know, maybe not the holidays per se, but the energy, the culture there is of overconsumption during this time of year. Yeah, I just get the sense that we're just done with it. We're done. We don't want anything to do with it. I do see this energy becoming increasingly more apparent on TerraTube. A lot of people are commenting on the problem of overconsumption as it relates to TerraTube, so that's another video. But yeah, I do get the sense that a lot of us are just kind of sick and tired of it all, really. What else? So, you know, we have overconsumption and kind of being backed into a corner, tiredness, fatigue, feeling really tired. Okay, I'm feeling this one. The Ace of Swords. Okay. So, yeah, this does reaffirm for me that, you know, really the focus here, like the biggest problem for a lot of us is mental health, right? With the Ace of Swords and the Ten of Swords next to each other, and the Four of Cups and the Moon. I do get the sense that mental health is the biggest concern for a lot of us. But also communication. So, you know, we have like, God, it just feels like I also get the sense of like, just so much is being put on us. I feel like, especially those of us who celebrate with family, there is so much, there's just so many expectations. really. And it's so burdensome, right? So the 10s usually indicate not just the end of something, but you know, something that is really quite oppressive. And you know, I do get the sense that the mental energy present in this spread so far does feel very oppressive. And like there's just this like parade of cakes, like overeating, you know, overindulging. That's another thing that a lot of people have some hang-ups, you know, regarding like food, their relationship to food, especially around the holidays. I know I have problems concerning that. I won't get too into it because obviously I don't want to trigger anyone, but that I definitely see that being represented here, just as that's more of like an intuitive hit I'm getting. But also the Ace of Swords suggests that some of us are estranged from, we do not communicate with certain family members. We are alone in this. Again, I'm not seeing people. I'm not seeing people populating this spread, this reading so far. I'm just seeing just one figure, right? All alone. So loneliness, again, big problem, I think, for a lot of us. Even if we're surrounded by people, we still might feel very lonely, very misunderstood. Like there's certain topics that we can't approach with certain family members. This might be really problematic for some, especially where concerning politics, where our political opinions might differ a lot from certain family members, and it's more likely for this to come up, for these political differences to come up during these like family dinners and such. And for that to be quite, you know, for there to be a communication problem there, even as much as we want to avoid it, there just seems to be a tendency for these things to come up around this time of year, you know, around Thanksgiving as well. But I can't speak to Thanksgiving because I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. But I do feel like Thanksgiving, Christmas, you know, just the holiday season is a time for a lot of clashes between family members. You know, political opinions, just personal, even religious beliefs. There's a lot of tension, lots of arguments. Yeah, a lot of arguments. So of course that leads to a sensation, a feeling of solitude, of being misunderstood. So this Ace of Swords, I'm really reading it in a more shadowy aspect, like not being understood, like communicating, talking, but not being able to get your idea across effectively, being misunderstood, people not listening to you, or taking away the wrong message from what you're saying. Okay, so moving on. Hang on. So what are the problems? Oh, the Star. So some feel, I know I really suffer from this. Some feel a pressure to perform as well. That's why, I don't know why I'm getting that from the Star and the Moon, the Star and the Moon. Some people feel a pressure to perform, yeah, in front of family, in front of their partners, their friends. You know, pretend everything is all right, even if it isn't. And again, like I said, during this darker time of year, it's so much easier to fall into a seasonal depression and suffer from those kind of mental health issues. It's so hard to put on a brave face, right? To just power through, pretend everything is all right when it isn't. There's this like inherent expectation of, you know, that we all have to put on our happy faces, put on our party frocks and our happy faces and just pretend that everything is perfect. There's just this like, I don't know, this really, really damaging and like expectation that is just thrown on us, that it's like, why is it around the holidays particularly that we are expected suddenly to be perfect, in all areas of our lives. And like somehow if we're falling short in some area, it feels like we're wrong. There's something wrong about us, like we're doing something wrong. Like we're not quite, we might feel like we haven't fulfilled all our goals as well, and that might put a strain on our mental health, on our mental well-being. Like this year hasn't gone like we wanted it to for some of us, and that can really make us feel quite depressed and quite unfulfilled, and just worried that we're really falling short of not just others' expectations of us, but our own expectations. Sometimes it feels like so much is at stake. Like we're not where we want to be by the end of the year. And we feel like we've lost. Like we haven't made it, right? We haven't gotten to the finish line. And there's this sense of like desperation and sadness, depression, and again, it's like if we're not Little Miss Mary Sue, Little Miss Perfect, it's like there's something. No one is, of course. That's what's so damaging and unhealthy about this like cultural expectation. None of it is realistic. There's kind of like some unspoken agreement, and I think even if we're all aware that it's not realistic, it still affects us, right? I'm not sure what more I can say about it. I mean, I don't know why is there so much pressure around Christmas? Okay, and then we'll end this part of the reading with this. I think this is a perfect way to finish this section. Yeah, death. Let's talk about, like, very briefly, because we've already kind of touched on it, the new year. Again, the expectations that come with the new year, that we haven't quite finished we haven't quite gotten to the finish line, but the finish line is already being imposed on us anyway, right? It's like there's an expiration date. There's an expiration date for your dreams almost, right? It feels like your goals. Yeah, your goals, your wishes have an expiration date, and it's happens to be around this time of year when the new year comes round. And so many of us feel like maybe we could have done better. And maybe that's not a realistic expectation for ourselves. But certainly we get that message from so many, from media, and just society, culture at large. We do get that message, this implicit kind of just expectation, this heaviness of being efficient, super efficient, being productive in all areas of our lives. And if we're not, we're a failure. That's a very heavy belief system to contend with, that if you're somehow not productive in all areas of your life, if there are no visible results, right, then you haven't succeeded in some way. And if you haven't succeeded by capitalistic standards, then you have failed. It's a very dualistic, like black and white kind of thinking. I don't know, death of dreams. I'm really getting that sense of like the death of dreams with the moon, the star, and death. But of course, that's why so many of us get kind of excited, or at least we put so much on the new year as a new beginning. Again, that's why so many of us just feel so done with this year. We just want it to be over. Because if we haven't reached our goals, then, it's like we don't want to ruminate on it any more than we have to. Resolutions that you set for yourself, hopefully you've achieved some of them. And even if you haven't, there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not a lesser person if you haven't achieved everything you've wanted to achieve. again, capitalism just kind of like entrenches, there's this just entrenched belief in just hyper productivity, hyper efficiency, you know, in a way that doesn't permit us to be human and to make mistakes and to just sometimes be lazy and to just be inefficient and unproductive. You know, these are human characteristics, these are normal human traits. There's nothing wrong or lesser about them, but it's so entrenched in our minds that somehow we have to be like, even with our personal growth, we have to be somehow like hyper efficient. And if we're not, we've failed. That's a very definitive way of looking at things. This is just the sense that I'm getting, like the energy that I feel like some people struggle with at this time of year. These very, very deeply entrenched beliefs that are not healthy, very harmful, and come from, like, you know, the culture that surrounds us, capitalism, essentially. Capitalism is the ill. Capitalism is at the core of all society's ills. So yeah, this kind of like culture of hyper efficiency, hyper productivity, I think it really harms us. And then when you pair it with the culture of overconsumption, it's like a recipe for disaster, I think. When we feel unfulfilled, we feel a hole, and we then fill that hole with stuff. And then we feel guilty about owning stuff, so we buy more stuff to assuage, to comfort ourselves, you know, over that guilt. And then, you know, it's like a vicious cycle. So I feel like, okay, we've kind of like diagnosed what the problems are with the holiday season. I'm probably going to edit this down quite a bit because I think I have a lot of brain fog. It's just something that happens with neurodivergence. So I feel like I'm not really expressing my ideas very clearly. Like, I'm not finding the right words, or I'm not phrasing things quite right. So that is that is quite a frustrating feeling to contend with. But hopefully you still get the message, like the core message at deep down. And hopefully you can bear with me while I try to figure things out. Like I do, like I see the card, like I'm seeing the cards and I understand exactly what they're saying, but somehow today I'm like not really, I'm not getting it across. For some reason, I'm not channeling it. Anyway, so second part of the reading, I just kind of want to do something a little bit more watery, a little bit more emotional, a little bit more nurturing as well. I mean, I think this deck doesn't feel actually very warm, but I do kind of want to get something a little bit more, I don't know, something a bit more spiritual, a bit more intuitive from this part of the reading. So what is the overall theme of how can we navigate this holiday season? So, sorry, I keep not picking card. I think I'll pick this one. Wisdom. Okay, so we have wisdom with the owl and hop. So wisdom. Okay, so right, relying on our inner wisdom. And at the bottom of the deck we have, okay, the hare and oak, new opportunities. So I definitely feel like that is relevant to the new year, especially like the opportunity to start over again, that so many of us are looking forward to. Like, all is not lost. Of course, it's never too late to do anything in your life. It's your life. You live it how you want and you take it at the pace that you want. It's never too late to get things done, to do things. I know it's easy to say that, but genuinely don't despair if you haven't gotten everything done, because just the fact that you maybe even just got one thing done, perhaps, that in itself is such an achievement. It's just, I think we should be kinder on ourselves, we should be kind on ourselves for just getting through life, because life is so shitty and it's so difficult here. I think we don't give ourselves enough credit just for getting through the day. Yeah, I think we need to give ourselves more credit for just doing that, for just getting out of bed in the morning, right? I think we should celebrate that. I think that's something that's worth celebrating, if you're able to get out of the bed in the morning. And if you're not, that's fine. But whatever it is, any small thing you do is an achievement. It's something that you should be proud of. How can we navigate the holiday season? I'm gonna throw out some ideas, okay? How we can get through this. How we can maybe attune to our higher self, our spiritual self, and access that wisdom that might be able to guide us in the direction of how we can better deal with these kind of circumstances, these problems, how we can, yeah. So how can we better, okay, oh, taking that one. 3 of Cups, all right. 3 of Cups. Beautiful. This goes together. These 2 decks go together beautifully. 3 of Cups. King of Pentacles or coins, however you prefer to, whatever you prefer. Okay. The sun. So as the sun is coming back in, as it is the winter solstice, and the days will start getting longer from here on out, the sun is coming back in, and it's heralding hope, I think. So it's like a new hope. Just the fact that we get to see the sun again is something worth celebrating. It's something beautiful that I think it brings us warmth, it brings us life, brings us hope. And also, I do see illumination here, like wisdom and the sun being kind of like a sense of reaching spiritual enlightenment, even of spiritual understanding is often associated with the sun. So reaching some kind of new spiritual understanding here. And I'll get to these 2 cards in a minute. So what else? How can we best navigate these issues? Death. Okay, death again, that is interesting. Okay, so I'm getting the sense of, with the sun and death, a cycle of sorts, a renewal. That death is not the end. Just because the sun is not visible, it does not mean the sun has gone down. It does not mean it will not rise again, right? There's the implicit understanding that the sun will rise again. It sets in the evening and then it rises again in the morning, and it's a cycle, just like death. Life and death is a cycle. It's a natural cycle. Okay, so maybe we need to attune ourselves more to our natural cycles. I'm seeing a very literal suggestion here of being very careful about our circadian rhythms, being really conscious that we are sleeping well, we're sleeping at the right time. It can be really difficult around this time of year just because it is so dark, to get the right sense of like when it is time to sleep or how long you should sleep. And I feel like our circadian rhythms can be really, really out of whack during this season. So I feel like I'm getting a very specific message of like being very conscious of a sleep hygiene. Okay, so having good sleep hygiene is really important. That like there's, it's a basic need that we have, just like having food, shelter, enough sleep, you would be surprised at how just the basic building blocks of what sustains us, of human life, how important it is to our general health. So again, eating well, getting some exercise, sleeping and getting enough sleep, and not just getting enough sleep, but getting good quality sleep. How important and how big a difference it makes just to have those things covered. It sounds, you could dismiss it, but it's really important that you do have at least those things that are covered, that you're at least taking care of yourself physically and mentally, and that can make such a difference for your overall well-being. Like, it can genuinely make it easier for you to feel joy and feel happiness and feel fulfillment if your needs are being taken care of. Psychological, physiological needs are like the base, right? The base of our mental well-being. So anyway, I'm just getting that message for some reason. Like, I'm getting the message of like paying attention to our physical health, right? I don't know. The wisdom of our bodies, listening to our bodies. And one last card. How can we navigate? Okay. The 10 of coins, that's beautiful. So with there being, okay, so there's 2 majors and we have 2 pentacles, 1 cup, no swords, and no wands. So wands and swords are, because they can be seen as weapons, they usually do have a higher propensity. There's a higher chance for them to be wielded as weapons, for there to be conflict that arises out of the wands and the swords. They're more active, they're more yang, yeah, like they're weapons, therefore they can be wielded as such. So I see no struggle here. I see no conflict. I see much more. I do get a very much, even from the death card, I do get a sense of serenity here. Finding like what brings you serenity. And I feel like friends are so, I don't know if maybe friends are perhaps the answer for a lot of us. Maybe some of us don't have many friends, but the friends we do have, we really do have to value those friendships. Because friends are our chosen family, right? We don't choose our biological family or the family that has raised us, but we can to some extent choose our friends. And we can really drink from that, that well-being that comes with sharing with your friends, with like-minded people that share your interests, people who just get you, something that you might not get from the kind of understanding that you don't get from your family, you can find in your friendships or even in your relationship. Really, but especially friendships, I feel like they are the antidote to the holiday, to the ills, the ills of all the ills of the holiday season. Really falling back on our support system, the support system that we have, our friends. Even if we just have the 1 or 2 friends, really trying to spend as much time as you can with them. Really make the most of the time you have with them. Send them gifts, talk to them, just share these burdens that you have with them as well. Well, here we are, what we see depicted as more of a 10 of cups or 2 of cups sort of energy, which is interesting. But there's a feeling of contentment here with your material. So what I'm getting more from the numerology, and I guess the overall energy of this card, is contentment with what you have. I think that is a difficult philosophy to espouse, but just feeling contentment with what you have, because other people have so much less. And again, we're not trying to draw comparisons here, comparative, we're not trying to make ourselves feel bad about the fact that other people have less, but just expressing gratitude for the wealth, for like just feeling. It's about like trying to embody that energy of wealth, of wealthiness, but not wealth as we understand it, like material wealth, but wealth as in like I don't know, spiritual wealth perhaps. Although I do know that the coins are more material. But I am getting that sensation, especially with the Three of Cups, that there's a more spiritual tint and wisdom. I'm getting a more spiritual tint to this Ten of Coins. Just the kind of satisfaction that comes from the ease, that comes from the sensation, that feeling of plentifulness, of feeling like you have plenty, like you're provided for, like you don't need any more because you already have all you need, all you could want. And that is a difficult feeling or sensation or philosophy, I don't know, again, it's a difficult state of gratitude to be in. But perhaps expressing gratitude is something we can do. Again, because our lives are, in the grand scheme of things, they're a blink in the cosmos. And I don't know, we need to be aware of, I guess, just maybe being aware of that, basically. Being aware of our place in the cosmos, and just being grateful for being alive, which might be, I don't know. Is that too like preachy? I hope it's not too preachy, because that is the feeling I'm getting from like just cherishing life, right? Cherishing that you are in the here, the now, cherishing the present moment, cherishing what we have, that like the sun, light, even the darkness, cherishing both sides of life, just cherishing the act of being alive. I feel like a lot of us maybe have to do some more grounding. Yeah, definitely some more grounding, more exercise and gratitude, especially around this time, for what we have. And yeah, expressing gratitude, being in the here and the now, sharing with friends, with the people who really care about you, because family is a tricky topic. I'm sure a lot of us do have loving families, but some of us don't, and some of us have tricky families that some of us might even be estranged from our families. Some of us just don't really have much family. So it's something that maybe the family doesn't, you would think family is maybe more reliable, but actually I'm seeing that friends are the more reliable source of joy in this season. And then the King of Coins, I guess it's just an overall, as a last message to you, embodying that. I think that you don't have to give people physical gifts. I feel like generosity is not, again, I don't know, why am I getting that sensation that, like, even though this is the material, this is very much, but because of the image, I'm getting the sense of being generous, but more with your time, with your actions, with the gestures that you make, not so much with the gifts that you give or the gifts that you receive. Being very highly generous in that sense. Yeah, so to sum up the reading, to sum up this part of the reading, attuning to your body, listening to what it needs, feeling gratitude for what you have. Expressing gratitude is really important. The difference it makes to just have your needs met and to express gratitude and maintain a practice of like being grounded and in the present moment and just being in the now and really, really holding on to it, just appreciating it for what it is. Nothing more, just the simplicity of life. And friends, I feel like friends, I feel like a lot of us here, we've made friends on TarotTube, and we've made really good friends on TarotTube, and we can certainly, I'm sure we've made friendships that will last us for many years to come, and those are the kind of friendships that you should really treasure. I feel like those are your chosen family. Those are the family that you really need to entrust your well-being with, if that makes sense. Like, those are that's the family that will bring you joy and will bring you connectedness. Your partner or your friends, those are the people you've chosen to be in your life, and therefore they understand you, they know you, they're by you. Taking care of your needs, sleeping well, relying on your friends, and expressing gratitude and being generous. That's what I'm seeing. So thank you for tuning in. I hope that was helpful, insightful, or even, if not, just entertaining in any way. Comment down below. Like I said, I don't think I'm super eloquent today, but I hope you're getting the gist of of the messages that I'm trying to channel here. Anyway, what are you doing for the holidays? Or what are you not doing? I don't know. How do you celebrate? Comment down below. Hopefully this reading was of some help to you, and more than anything, I would like to start a discussion. So what would you add to this if you could? What kind of advice would you give people? Yeah, so comment down below. Yeah, I'd like to get people talking. If you saw any interpretations, if you saw anything in these cards that I missed potentially, then feel free to add in the comments below. But like I said, a lot of brain fog today, so my brain is not working properly. But yeah, that was your reading. That was our reading. So I will see you in the next one. See you soon. Hope you are happy, healthy, and safe, and loved and supported. And I will always love and support you. And hope these holidays are pleasant for you. Yeah, more than anything, I wish these holidays are good to you. So yeah, that's it. See you in the next one. Bye.